This portion of New Day Northwest is sponsored by Premera Blue Cross.
Hey, welcome back. So the COVID-19 pandemic, it's taken a lot of twists and turns over the past 2 years. The most recent being this Omicron variant. We asked Premera Blue Cross Dr. Josephine Young what we need to be thinking about.
Yeah, as we know of right now, because we're continuing to learn more about it every day, our general belief that it is probably just a little bit more contagious than Delta is, and the severity seems to be more in the standpoint of milder symptoms rather than more severe, just because we haven't had a lot of people admitted to the hospitals yet with it. But that can change at any point. But for right now, that's about where we sit.
That's some good news. So for anyone who doesn't understand why these variants keep coming out, can you briefly explain why this is happening?
Yes, definitely. And we have to understand it from the standpoint of the virus. The virus is a living, growing thing, and its sole goal is to be able to infect more people so it can multiply and grow. That is its sole purpose. And so every time it infects somebody and is growing, it's multiplying itself. And every time that multiplying happens, changes can happen. And some of those changes make it less effective. So those changes won't stick around. But every change that makes it a stronger virus, so it's easier to infect somebody or can live a little bit longer, all of that, that's what's going to drive the next variant. So it's not surprising that every new variant of concern we see is a little bit stronger than the last one at being able to infect somebody.
Sneaky, clever little organism. So being that it is evolving, if you will, or changing all the time to continue its spread, are any of the current vaccines going to be effective, and will they stay effective?
Yeah, so early studies right now, based on what we know in the moment, is that yes, the vaccines are effective. The vaccines are not as strong against Omicron, it seems, than it is against Delta, but it's definitely effective. So if people are not vaccinated, definitely go get vaccinated. If you're eligible for a booster and it's time for one, definitely go do it. Because we've also seen that people who have a recent booster are the ones that are best protected against Omicron right now.
That's really good news. If you can find a booster, oh my goodness.
Yes. Be persistent.
So what about holiday? I mean, a lot of people were really gearing up for this holiday season, having not been able to see their families last year. What do you recommend for people visiting others or other holiday plans, holiday parties? Does this change anything?
Yeah, fundamentally right now, it doesn't change a whole lot just because the Delta variant is still the predominant one in the US. Now, if you're going to be traveling internationally, we're certainly, hearing about it more out of South Africa. We're hearing a lot more about it out of Europe. So if you're traveling internationally, you might have to think a little bit harder, but within the US, as long as you're predominantly being protected from Delta, it shouldn't really change the plans much. And this is what I would have people keep in mind. The bottom line is, you cannot catch this virus if you don't get exposed to it. So if you create that distance of 6 feet as much as you can for people that you don't know, for people you don't know their vaccine status, all of that will help. But then if you can't create that distance, wearing that mask will give that extra level of protection so the virus doesn't get inside of you. And if you end up touching it on your hands, just wash your hands always before you touch your face, and that will help. So those are just some basics, no matter where you're at or who you're with. But one other thing I would say, as you're making plans about, traveling or not, think of it this way. If you're just going to get in a car and drive to somewhere and only be in the house with people that you know that are vaccinated, you're really not going to increase your risk much there. If you're going to go in a crowded thing like an airplane or a train or a bus or something like that, and travel a good distance and be with people where you don't know their vaccination status, or maybe they're not vaccinated, and maybe in an area that has a lot of COVID infections going on, then you're increasing your risk significantly. And most people are going to be doing something halfway in between.
Yeah.
So think about who you're going to be with, what their immunization status is, how long you're going to be there, and how crowded is the surrounding.
So once you get to where you're getting, what is the safest way to celebrate with friends and family right now?
Definitely, keep those gatherings small as you can. Try to be with people who feel similarly with you with regard to the level of seriousness about COVID. And still the same thing, distance if you can. If you can't, wear a mask if it makes sense, especially if you're around other people. But the biggest thing, wash your hands really well. That's good for colds and flus and everything else that's going on this time of year too. COVID isn't the only infection out there. So
tell me about it.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky that both my children are over 5 years old. They just got their second vaccine a week ago.
Awesome.
What about kids that are under 5? What is the concern for them?
The concern for them is obviously they don't have any personal protection. So they're really counting on all the adults in their life around them to keep them as well protected as possible. So the more that you have people who are vaccinated around them rather than unvaccinated, that will be helpful. Keeping them out of like big crowded settings where you don't really know whether people are having symptoms or not traveling a whole lot with them. Those will all be helpful. But again, keeping their hands washed. And for the ones that are over the age of 2, keeping masks on them when you're outside will make all the difference.
And to learn more about what we discussed today, visit the website on your screen for more info.